Episode 9 of The Worst of Evil starts with Junemo recalling his wedding with Yu Aijong. He thinks about how his father, a drug addict, caused a scene during Junemo's nuptials and had thrown a fit, asking for money from Junemo. Junemo remembers being embarrassed by his father and recalls how Yu Aijong had looked at him that day. Present-day Junemo shows up at the Union in the middle of chaos. Jiaichul tries to save Yu Aijong while the rest of his thugs fight the Jagan Group thugs. Junemo's eyes meet with Yu Aijong's in the hallway and something takes over him. While Jiaichul tries to protect himself and Yu Aijong, Junemo goes on a killing spree and furiously beats up the goons that get in his way. Junemo's white suit is all bloodied up as he watches Jiaichul with Yu Aijong. Junemo brutally kills the goons and Yu Aijong is shocked to see her husband turn into an animal. After the incident is over, Hairyan shows up at the Union with Kong-san and is shocked to see Junemo's state. She asks what Junemo was thinking about being so reckless. Junemo tells her that he was doing so to protect someone and looks at Yu Aijong, who is standing right in front of Jiaichul. Hairyan tells Jiaichul that she disobeyed Boss Ozan and was choosing to partner with him. Oyama waits for the good news of Jiaichul's death, but Kisu's men tell him there isn't any yet. Jiaichul's goons show up at Jagan Group headquarters and thrash up the place. Jamriel and Heesung lead the group, but Junemo directly attacks Kisu. He pins Kisu on the table in front of Oyama and cuts up his ankle. Jiaichul asks Oyama to ask Kanemoto to come to his office and apologize in person if he wants to make it out alive. Do-hyung meets Yu Aijong and tries to console her, but she is shaken up following the incident. She goes back home and thinks about the innocent Junemo she fell in love with in contrast to the person she witnessed hours before. Meanwhile, Heesung recalls how Jiaichul left him to die during the incident because he was focused on Yu Aijong. Junemo thinks about the time he proposed to Yu Aijong and recalls seeing him with Jiaichul. Jiaichul and Junemo wait at the hospital where his injured employees are getting treated. Junemo and Jiaichul check up on each other, and Jiaichul asks Junemo to grab a bite to eat. Both Jiaichul and Junemo call Yu Aijong, but she does not answer either of their calls. A while later, Yu Aijong listens to the messages the men left her. Jiaichul apologizes to Yu Aijong for what happened, while Junemo asks her to drop out of the investigation for good so he can close the case and come back to her. Jiaichul takes Junemo to his mother's house. The two have a meal there and call it a night. That night, Jiaichul and Junemo discuss the deal with the Japanese client, and the gang leader tells Junemo that he is dating Yu Aijong. Junemo is shocked by the revelation and cannot seem to go to bed. He meets Jiaichul's sister, who asks him to take care of her brother. The next morning, Chansik meets the commissioner of police and asks him to keep the war between Jiaichul's gang and Kisu's gang a secret. At the same time, Jiaichul and his right-hand men, Heesung, Jamriel and Junemo Sungho, discuss how the future of the trade would go now that the Chinese had asked them to purchase higher quantities of the drugs. Junemo asks to meet Oyama in private and argues that they need to make sure the tension is neutralized before they make the next move. Mingu shows up at the Union and threatens to expose Jiaichul. He blames Jiaichul for the death of the informant and asks if the lighter belonged to him. Mingu tells Jiaichul that the informant's phone was missing from the scene of the crime and wonders if the killer took it. On his way out, Mingu tries to trick Junemo into taking the lighter found at the scene of the crime. Junemo tells Mingu that the lighter does not belong to him and asks the cop to take it back. Mingu tells Junemo that he is onto him and suggests he be careful as he makes his way out of the Union. That night, Yu Aijong and Jiaichul meet at a restaurant, and he tells her that he will protect her with everything he can and hopes to stand tall in front of her family. The next morning, Junemo meets Oyama and apologizes to him on behalf of Jiaichul. Mingu goes to see Kisu and sees him on a wheelchair. He is shocked to see what Jiaichul and his men have done to Kisu. Mingu meets the drug dealer, Dodgers, who worked at Jiaichul's bar and was recently arrested by Do-hyung's cop friends. At the same time, Junemo waits for Jiaichul and Oyama to have their meeting. Mingyu, on the other hand, takes Dodgers outside and tortures him until Dodgers tells the cop where he could find Yankees. After being beaten up brutally, Dodgers tells Mingyu that the only way to find Yankees is by looking for Wendy, the girl that he had impregnated. The two arrive at Wendy's place and find it empty, which further infuriates Mingyu. On the other hand, Oyama brings Kanemoto to meet Jiaichul and reconcile. Jiaichul asks Kanemoto to formally apologize to him if he wants to restart business with him. He also tells Kanemoto that he had decided to increase the price of the drugs by 30%. Kanemoto is appalled by Jiaichul's audacity and leaves the union. He scolds Oyama for embarrassing him and cuts him off his gang. Junimo gets desperate and meets Heiryan. He asks for her help in convincing the Japanese client to continue to work with Jiaichul. Heiryan tells Junimo that Kanemoto has offered to trade with Boss Ozen without a Korean middleman. The two visit Kanemoto with Oyama's help, and Junimo tries to apologize to Kanemoto on Jiaichul's behalf. Heiryan tries to convince Kanemoto to reconsider, but the latter asks Junimo to apologize to him by performing yubitsum, a finger-shortening tradition. Junimo begins to do so but hesitates. Kanemoto asks his bodyguard to chop off Junimo's finger, but the bodyguard ends up killing Kanemoto instead. As it turns out, Oyama had already convinced the bodyguard to side with him. Oyama bids Kanemoto farewell and tells Junimo that he has made a deal with Jiaichul already. Junimo is shocked to learn that Jiaichul was aware of the deal and kept it a secret from him. The episode ends with Jiaichul showing up at Kanemoto's place, where he sees Junimo and Heiryan with Oyama. The episode review: there is so much bloodshed in this show that it was horrifying to see Ji Chang-wook at the beginning of this episode. The way he bit off the goon's ear, causing him to bleed out, was not just animalistic but also scary. I would not want to be in the same room as Junimo when his wife is in danger. It was poetic to see Junimo try to protect Yuijong from afar while Jiaichul protects her from close by. I have a feeling that even when the case closes, Yuijong will not be able to get over the side of Junimo. The show stands on its last legs now, and I wonder what will happen now that Junimo, as Sung Ho, has tried to go behind Jiaichul's back.